Hey, Part Dreaming. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. We have three amazing speakers joining us all the way from Australia to provide some great insights on reporting on and reassigning qualified prospects and managing re-engaged contacts using task queues. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to your speakers today from Destined.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And hi there, and welcome to our Pardot session on how to report on and reassign qualified prospects from Pardot, as well as managing re-engaged contacts with task queues. We're very excited to be here today, but before we get started, we just like to quickly introduce ourselves. So my name is Claudia Hobbs, and I've been in marketing for over 15 years. My passion is all things digital, including marketing automation and Salesforce, and I've been introduced to it in 2012. Now, as a consultant, I do help organizations driving growth with marketing automation and strategy consultation. And I'm also a certified Salesforce instructor for Pardot and a marketing champion, Salesforce marketing champion in 2021. So now I'd like to pass on to Tammy.
Hey everyone, my name is Tammy Begley. I've been a marketer for over 18 years, but in the last 10 years, I've wholeheartedly embraced that digital marketing is the way of the future. I'm the Pardot practice lead at Destined, which is a Salesforce partner in Australia, and I've been a Pardot user since 2012. I sit on the Salesforce Pardot advisory board, and I've been a Salesforce marketing champion in 2020 and 2021. Last up, Ling, it's your turn.
Thanks, Tammy. Hi there, I'm Ling from Destined. In the past 5 years that I've been working inside the Salesforce industry, I've become a 15-time certified cross-cloud solutions consultant, as well as a certified Scrum Master. Over to you, Claudia.
Thank you both. Just a quick introduction to our agenda today. So our session is broken down into two use cases. First, Ling and I will be talking to you about how to push all prospects for reporting purposes into Salesforce to later reassign them once qualified. And then the second use case will be presented to you by Tammy and Ling, and they will share a solution on how to manage your re-engaged contacts and existing clients with Salesforce task queues rather than creating new leads every time. Lastly, Tammy will have a little surprise for you, so make sure you have your phones and your QR code scanners ready. And let's get started now. Okay, so how to report and reassign unqualified prospects on Pardot. Believe it or not, this has been on my personal list to solve ever since I started using Pardot. I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate to the following scenario. As a marketer, you really want to report on all the leads you're generating via Pardot. It doesn't matter if it's just a newsletter sign up or if it's a contact me now, I want to buy from you form submission. Since all of your stakeholders do live in Salesforce, or do have access to Salesforce, I should say, it makes a lot of sense assigning all of your prospects into Salesforce for reporting purposes. But then at the same time, you do not want to create a lot of noise for all your sales team members by assigning unqualified prospects to them. So as a solution, you do come up with assigning your prospects to a marketing queue so that you can later reassign them once they qualify. But then you realize that Pardot can't do the reassignment bit. So today, what we would like to show you is a solution how we are setting up a reassignment via Salesforce automation based on a scoring threshold. And to start with that, I will show you a little demonstration where a prospect named Alex Perry is interested in buying a home for himself and his family and starts researching the internet to download a floor plan. So I'm just going to come out of the presentation mode now. So Alex has started researching and finds this website where he can download a floor plan, and he really likes what he's seeing, and he fills out the form with his details and submits this form. Now the marketer in Salesforce sees Alex coming in as a lead. At the lead owner of marketing queue, the Pardot prospect score is at the moment 38 points, giving them a few points for the submission of the floor plan download and other website visits. And on the right hand side, you can also see that a floor plan he has visited the landing page for the floor plan and downloaded it by filling in the form. Now, Alex really likes the floor plan and really would like to research more about this house. And he comes here and finds actually that he can book a display home visit to this house. So he sees that's awesome. So he's going to go ahead and fill in his details again. And submits the form. And basically then we're having Alex here in Salesforce again. Now he's actually owned, as you can see, by the SDR lead queue. His Pardot score has passed the threshold of 100 points. And on the right-hand side, we can see he's downloaded first the floor plan, and then he's also booked a display home visit. So yeah, that's basically the demonstration. And now I would like to pass on to Ling, who will talk to you about how we've built that behind the scenes in Salesforce. Over to you, Ling.
Thanks, Claudia. Before we begin, though, it's important to note that Salesforce has announced the retirement of Process Builder and Workflows, both tools which we'll demonstrate today. However, they are not sunsetting these automation tools, which means for simple use cases, it may still make sense to utilize them. I'm just flicking into Sales Cloud now. So here I'm inside Setup. As a system administrator, to access Setup, all you have to do is click on this little cog on the right-hand side and click into Setup, which will open up a new tab. So the first things to note about this solution is building the queue. The first queue that we're going to build is to push non-MQL prospects into Sales Cloud for reporting purposes. So here on the left-hand side, in the quick find box, I'm typing in queue and selecting queue. I hit new, entering a name for this, such as marketing queue, and selecting the available objects, which is the lead object, and adding in users such as myself. Then I hit save. Then I move on to building the second queue. And this queue is to reassign this to the sales users as an example for them to work on the lead. Here I'm going to enter in a name called SDR queue. And again, for the available objects, I'm going to select lead and enter in the users or members who make up this queue. Then click save. Once the queues have been built, it's time to build the automation to reassign the lead owners. So here on the left-hand side on the quick find bar, I'm going to type in workflow, select workflow rules, and hitting new rule. For the object, I'm also going to select lead again, click next, and entering a name for this. Reassign MQL leads. Make sure evaluate the rule when the record is evaluation criteria is created and any time is edited to subsequently meet criteria. And then the next step here is to enter in the actual criteria itself. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to have a prospect score threshold of 100. So I'm going to find lead Pardot score. Is greater than or equal to 100. Select save and next. And adding the workflow action here, which is the field update. Here, I'm going to add in the name, reassign lead owner. And for the field to update, it is the lead owner field. Hit next. Select queue. And find the SDR queue that we've just built. Hitting save. Oops, and there's just one last thing to make as well, is to hit that checkbox there called reevaluate workflow rules after field change. And now the Sales Cloud setup is done, it's time to go inside Pardot. So here on the app launcher, I'm going to navigate to Pardot. Go to Settings. And on the User Management, going into Users. I'm going to go View Queues and map the queues. I'm going to add this queue. Call the marketing queue and create the queue. Once that's done, it's time to go into the form and add the form completion action. So here on the content, jumping into the landing page form, hitting edit, going into completion action, and have assigned to queue, which is the marketing queue, then selecting confirm and save. And that's all. I'm just flicking back to the deck now.
Are you okay there, Ling? Looks like Ling's potentially gone off. So what I might do is I might screen and we'll get. So give me 2 seconds. Right. So I guess Claudia, you could just cover off the recap and of what Ling just has gone through. So
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to share your screen, Tammy, and then I'll talk, or you would like to
Yep.
do?
Yep. My screen's busy loading as we speak. Seems to be connectivity issues today, but that's the norm these days. I think we're quite used to them. Right. So Ling's back. So there you go, Ling. Let me just get back to where you needed to be on your slides. Yep. There you go. Oh, wrong one. There you go. Okay, and you're on mute, Ling.
I'm on mute.
No, you're not. Good.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. So now here's how to extend the solution further. Firstly, you could allocate the leads to users according to your specific business process, whether it's to a single user, a specific user, or in a round robin manner. Alternatively, you'd allocate the leads to a queue or users based on a different criteria. Again, it could be a prospect score threshold, a grade threshold, a combination of both score and grade, or you could utilize flows to take into account scoring categories as well as different lead fields. And in terms of a quick recap on the different components that made up the solution, you had that initial marketing queue inside Sales Cloud, then you assign the prospects to the marketing queue inside Pardot, as well as identifying what your MQL or SQL threshold is, whether it's grading or scoring, a mix of both, as well as deciding on the reassignment setup, which is the SDR queue or a specific salesperson. Over to you, Tammy.
Great. Thank you. So on to the next subject of the day, which is, I know, Claudia, just going back to when I first met you, what you resolved in your session was a bugbear, and it was awesome that we got a working group together that was able to come together and actually find a solution to something that's really been bugging you for a long time. I guess the magic in that and the message in that for everyone on the call today is, I feel like if you've got a really strong Salesforce admin and a really strong-minded marketer and you bring them together, that's where I think you find the true magic of Pardot, and you're able to really unlock what Pardot has to offer. So, this is what we're showing today is probably because we've got such a super admin user like Ling, who we can go and give her all sorts of challenges, and then she comes up with some great solutions. So, the solution that I'm going to be talking about today is how to manage and re-engage contacts using the Salesforce task queues. So in terms of this solution, we know that companies sell new products to their existing database all the time, right? And you've heard some sort of the saying of it's easier or cheaper to actually get an existing customer to buy more than to find a new customer. But not all Pardot users love this and or get they get frustrated. And I don't think it's the Pardot users. I actually think it's the sales team that get frustrated by the fact that Pardot's purposely designed not to create a new lead every single time an existing contact engages with a new campaign. And I've come to learn that it's actually the salespeople or sales teams that want this. But when you start to explain the headache of what duplicates can cause to both the CRM and Pardot, people quickly get it. And then they actually love the fact that Pardot's been purposely built to do this. The question that probably comes after the fact is, well, then, okay, so if that's the case, how do we notify the sales teams that these people are coming back and re-engaging on new campaigns? And obviously, the out-of-the-box solution is either to generate a Salesforce task to the contact owner or generate an email notification to the contact owner via completion actions. I personally prefer to suggest using the Salesforce tasks. Reason being, as a marketer, it means I know I can actually track what tasks have been open, completed. And so then the follow-up off the back of all my efforts can be managed and measured. So for most customers, this is an out-of-the-box solution, works well, and is a great solution. However, what I have seen is companies are evolving and starting to become or bring in what we're calling like sales development reps or inside sales teams or BDR teams, which are internal departments that their role is to qualify leads before actually passing them onto the sales process and a salesperson. And we had a client who has this scenario, and then this is how the solution came about, where they really wanted those existing contacts to become new leads. So we looked around and we realized that the task queues in Salesforce actually would be a great solution. And so we've built them this solution using the task queues. Some of the other things that we've done is we've actually taken it a little bit further, because we know that relying on sales to do some of the manual bits and pieces in between means that marketing doesn't always necessarily get a good reporting or true reporting on their efforts. And so in terms of using naming conventions in our tasks, we've been able to automate opportunity creations with contact roles associated to them. We've also been able to update campaigns with campaign member statuses when tasks are qualified and handed back to the salesperson. So today, Ling and I are really going to show you how this all works and how that goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to escape out of here, and just like Claudia showed you, I have a client who's an existing customer. His name is Rory Brannigan. He bought a property from Destined Property 2.0 5 years ago, and he and his family are now ready to buy an investment property. So he comes and he finds this gorgeous display home that he can go and visit, and he thinks, this is it, let's go and visit the display home, because we think this is the right investment property for us. So he submits his form, and as you can see inside CRM, he's actually a contact. You can see all the information that he's done prior in his engagement history. And I can see that he's actually, his lead owner, or his contact owner, should I say, is Ling Lee. And we don't want Ling to have to follow up with this. So what we've done is we've made sure that it bypassed Ling, and Ling didn't get the task notification, but the task notification gets dropped into the SDR task queue. And as you can see, here's Rory's task, ready for someone to pick up and complete. And when they convert it, then hand it back to Ling so that she can follow up with the sales process. So I'm going to let Ling show you what she's done in the back end to build what I've just shown you as the demo. So over to you, Ling.
Thanks, Tammy.
Let's hope that your screen sharing works.
So here I'm back inside Setup again. As before, if you're a system administrator, you can access Setup by clicking into the right-hand side cog in any page or record inside CRM, Salesforce, and hitting Setup. So here what we want to do first is build that queue for the SDRs to pick up the task. We also know that Pardot has the ability to create tasks from Pardot. However, they can only assign it to a record owner or to a specific user, which is why we then need to build an automation to reassign that task to a queue. So here inside Quick Find on the left-hand side, I'm going to type in queue, select queue, and now create a task queue. So hit new, enter in a label, and from the available objects, we want to select task. Select the members or users who make up this queue, then click save. So once that's done, we now build the automation. So here on the left-hand side, we're going to go look for process builder. Select process, click new, and entering a name for this. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to call this task reassignment or SDR team. For the process starts when, select a record changes, then click save. Add an object, which is the task object. When the record is created or edited, then click save. We now come to the criteria stage. It's important to know what criteria that we're showing here is a very simplistic criteria. However, you will need to work with your trusted partner or a Salesforce administrator to figure out what criteria would be best for your business process. And that's just to stop the tasks from being reassigned every single time it's edited by someone. So here, I'm going to enter in the name. The criteria name starts with form completed. For the criteria for executing actions, make sure its conditions are met. And now we're going to set the conditions. So here in the fields, we're going to go subject, choose. For the operator, starts with, and type string, value, form completed, dash. I'm also going to add in another criteria now about the task status being not starters. So the status equals pick list, not started. Make sure it's selected as and for all of the conditions that are met. Then save. And now we're adding the action, which is the reassignment of the task. Here, update records, entering the name, reassign task. For the record type, you want to select the task record that started your process. Click choose. And then the field values, which is the assigned to ID. For the type, select queue. And for the value, enter in the name of the queue that we've just created, which is the SDR task queue. Click save, then hit activate and confirm the activation. Now what's left to do is to jump back into Pardot and add that form completion to create a task. So here from the app launcher, I'm going into Pardot.
Sling.
Going into content. And going to the landing page form, hitting edit, going into completion action, which is creating the task. Now remember, for the subject, we had a condition or criteria of having form completed as the beginning of the subject. So we'll type that in. dash download floor plan. As an example, you can assign this to assistant admin or to the CRM owner. And for the status, remember, we also set the criteria of having not status as the status. Then I'll hit confirm and save. And that's it in terms of the setup.
I'm just going to share back to the slides.
Thanks, Claudia. So how do we extend this solution further? Well, the first most important thing to note is to future-proof this automation to consider both leads and contact form submission. What we've just shown you works for contacts, but perhaps you might want to have a different behavior for leads. You could also potentially add the contact to a campaign with a campaign member status as a form completion action. Alternatively, using flows, you could automate the creation of opportunities with contact roles and campaign associated to those opportunities. Alternatively, another avenue to explore is to automate the allocation of tasks to users according to a specific business process, whether it's in a round-robin manner or to a specific user. And you could also add in another mode of notification channel, whether it's an email, custom notification inside Salesforce, or to a Slack channel. And in terms of a really quick recap, here are the components that make up the solution: creating that task queue inside Sales Cloud, using Process Builder to reassign the task, and adding a create Salesforce task completion action in Pardot. Thanks, Claudia. Over to you, Tammy.
Thanks, Ling. That was awesome. And thank you for being such a brain and helping us resolve these things. And I see we're running out of time. So I just wanted to mention the offer that we have for everyone on this call today. As Claudia mentioned, there's a surprise offer. Please get your QR code readers out and scan away. If you have enabled the drag and drop email builder, or you were thinking of doing it, we're actually offering a free, beautifully pre-built email template, which you can simply drop into your Salesforce org and start using. It takes all of 15 minutes to get it set up, and then you can rebrand it. These pre-built email templates are going to be presented in, I think, the next session, which is the keynote roadmap session. So have a look and see what you can see there. And yeah, to get one of these, simply scan the QR code, submit the form, and we will be giving the first 20 people the free version. All we ask of you in return is that you complete a quick, short 2-minute survey. We just need to get some feedback on how you've gone with it. And then, yeah, the great thing that I needed to say is that these email templates can actually be used by Pardot and Sales and Service Cloud now. So anyone who's frustrated with the current Sales and Service Cloud builder, you can actually use the drag and drop to create really awesome looking emails. So that's a wrap from us. I'm sorry that we've run out of time and we haven't been able to take any live questions today. We hope you found the session really, really useful. But if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate. All our social handles are on there. Our email addresses are on that last slide. Please reach out and we'll answer any questions that you would like to ask. So thank you. That was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. One of my favorite parts about Part Dreaming is being able to see some of these awesome live demos. I think it just really gives an awesome feel for how these things are actually set up and how they're working. So thank you guys for putting that all together. I know it's nerve-wracking doing those live demos. But thank you guys all for joining us. Special shout out to our sponsors for all their support throughout. Like Tammy had mentioned, our next upcoming session is the Pardot roadmap. So I will see you guys all there. See you guys.